All right, let's go ahead, get this started so you can all get back to whatever you were doing before this. A couple of things we want to go through. One is that we've made one new hire and have an offer out to another person. I should hear back from them very soon, and then I will send an email out with the details. But we will be fully staffed again shortly. So that is exciting and very nice. In the meantime, and while we get those people trained, we will still need some assistance on the weekends. We need at least one person um, to work either a Saturday or a Sunday shift to work on Rochester Advanced pages. There's some flexibility with what time that person can be working. And then for the Sunday, we need one other person to work. So if you have not already worked one of those shifts, please let us know which one you'd like to work. And if you have worked one already, thank you very much. And we'd love it if you would work another one. Uh, I'm hoping that within about a month, we won't have to beg any of you to do the shifts anymore. We should be fully staffed and okay there. If you are willing or able to do that, please just let your manager know. And that can be either, we can trade you and give you a different day off that week, or it can be overtime as well if you would just like extra money, because money's always good. And I don't know, maybe you have a New Year's resolution about earning more money or something. So the option's available if you want it. So along with that, we do have some a schedule change happening. So we moved Joe to Sunday through Wednesday a few weeks ago. And starting next week, we are going to move Michael also to a 4-day work week. He is going to work Tuesday through Friday, 1 to midnight. So just, especially on Fridays, it's helpful to have another hub manager in a little bit earlier. So that's the way we're balancing that out, seeing how it goes. This Saturday will be the Saturday that we officially don't have a hub manager on duty. So for Saturdays going forward, I will be on call. So if you have a question or an issue, you can tag me in Slack, text me, or call me. And I think you all have my number, but I'll try to make sure that I clock in there so that my number's up at the top for all of you as well. So it's just, on Saturdays, there's generally not a ton for the hub manager to do. So we're trying to better use our time. So we're not doing that. And then I will, be logging in to kind of check on things a few times throughout the day. And then, at the end of the day to wrap things up and make sure all the shared pages get sent to FNS, all of that stuff. So if you are working on a Saturday and you run into any kind of an issue, please make sure that you just reach out to me. And a couple of questions from the pod group. One is when you do obituaries, and this is something we've talked about before, if you have obituaries that go onto multiple pages, when you put the numbers off to the side of the page, please make sure that you include how many are on the other pages. So if obits are on C2 and C3, on the side of C2, it should say C3 has 6 pages and 8 death notices. And then C3 should say however many are on C2. That way, if different people are proofing each page, they know how many are supposed to be on that individual page. That allows them to get the pages out quicker and not have to communicate with each other about like, okay, well, I've got C2, then I have this many obits. How many do you have on C3? And, it just streamlines the process, makes things easier. And you should be checking those numbers anyways as you're doing the pages to make sure you didn't forget anything. So since you have to do the numbers anyways, please just make sure that you're writing them off to the side to make things easier. And then it looks like Michael and Emily both have a couple of things to say here. So.
Yep. I just wanted to reach out about a couple of things that I've noticed as far as design style. We've been getting some notes on budgets from the pod that don't match our design style. I'm working with them to try to get those eliminated so that there's no confusion. 2 things that I just want to make sure that I reach out to is that even like Alexandria, they always ask for italicized taglines. We don't do that. So if they ask for that, please ignore that. I'm again going to work with the pod to make sure that that note doesn't get added to budgets. One thing that's a little bit more difficult for the pod, as they're not 100% focused on our style. One thing that I want to make sure that we as designers are adjusting is that we shouldn't have bylines with standing heads. So no bylines with scoreboards, no bylines with briefs packages, no bylines with, for the record, kind of anything like that, that you're using a standing head. So make sure that we're adjusting those to taglines. I've seen that a couple of times in Mitchell. I've seen that a couple of times in Detroit Lakes, which we're doing tonight. So please keep an eye on that. You can just make it a tagline. You don't have to ask the pod editor if it can be a tagline. That's totally our style. You're free to change that. So go ahead. Those are the two main things for me right now. Thanks.
And then my stuff was, if you need help due to page loads or late content that bottlenecks, like please ask sooner rather than later. Like it gives either us or whoever we ask to help with those pages more time to complete it and just like less of a fire to put out. And if you're using a skeleton and just make sure to check that the story numbers, those red boxes, don't sneak into the bleed area, like whether you move them closer for whatever reason or just, whatever. And I know that doesn't show up when you hit W to preview the page because it's in the bleed, but just keep an eye out for that. And then for photos, like you should be using the photo box from the design library, but if there's a situation where you have a ton of late content photos or are taking over a page and you just bring it over. Something that's happened a couple of times has been there's been a different colored border instead of black. If you select anything colored with the direct select tool, the program will assume that's the color you want. So then after that, if you add a 0.5 stroke, sometimes it'll add in the wrong color. So yeah, try to use the library item all the time if possible, but that's something that's happened to keep an eye out for. And that's my stuff.
I just want to piggyback on two things that she said, please. Can we just erase the red boxes? I need them on there to make sure that the designer and the pod editor are working with the same thing. Once you know what the CP is, once you know what the rail is, please just get rid of them so they don't go into the bleed anymore. That's something that I don't know the best way to do it, if I should have them in the copy or if I should have them off. I don't want you guys to have to move them, off of your story so that you can place this stuff, but just erase them, move them as much away as you can. Yeah, we just can't keep having them in the bleed. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot, so that's fine. Oh yeah, on top of the colored ones, we've been having a lot of photos where there aren't any frames, so that's something that we're gonna keep an eye out for too. So please make sure that if it's not a centerpiece situation or a design choice, that you have a frame, that it's the correct size, and that it's a black. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any questions? Anything to add? Great stories about anything that happened to you recently? All right. We'll give it a moment here in case somebody's typing, but thank you all for everything you did over the holidays. I really, the holidays went very smoothly for us, a little bit oddly smoothly generally. There were some issues, some hiccups. The first week, I know the pod had some struggles the week of Christmas, trying to make sure everything was done in a timely manner. And one day we forgot Alexandria existed to put that together pretty quickly. But otherwise, I think things went pretty well. And, of course, a lot of that is down to all of you. So thank you for all that you did through that. I'm excited for the things this new year is going to bring. The pod is working on some new streamlining now of shared digests and things like that. The pod can move into all of that now because they've taken on all the properties. So the next phase is a variety of ways to make our lives easier. And as always, if you have suggestions on what those should be, comments on things that are being done, please let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback and how you're feeling about things. I will let you know that I hope to be able to talk to each of you next week about raises. And also that generally we get notifications in December about profit sharing or 401k match. And I know those did not come out yet this year. I was thinking about it last night and I was like, dang, I really like getting that extra money. I'm bummed we didn't get it. But it turns out that there's just a technical delay in the letters and you can still expect those for that extra money in your 401ks. So be excited about that. Look forward to those letters coming in the mail for you all. Any questions, anything comes up, you all know how to reach us. So thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day.